Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something that's almost like a reflex, isn't it? Shopping. Not just, when you actually need something, but that constant pull, especially online.
Yeah, the endless scroll.
The drill clicking around, stuff magically appearing the next day, those ads that are just spooky. They feel like they're inside your head sometimes.
Right. It's definitely gone way beyond just picking up necessities.
Yeah, it feels like something else is going on underneath it all.
Absolutely. I mean, acquiring things now,
Yeah.
it's so tangled up with who we think we are, how we connect, our whole emotional state, really.
And it's just so easy, right? That amplifies it for sure.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
But the ease is just the surface. The real drivers, they're way more complicated.
Right. That's the big question I keep coming back to. Are we really just after the thing? The new phone, the cool jacket, is that it? Or is there something deeper, something pushing us, this feeling that maybe the next buy will finally, I don't know, fix something, fill a gap?
Precisely. That feeling of a gap, a void, that's really key. To really understand why we do it so much, we have to look past the surface consumer stuff.
Okay.
We need a way to see the hidden stuff, the unconscious desires pulling the strings, and actually looking at it through a sort of modern Freudian lens can be surprisingly revealing.
Okay, hold on. Freud and my, Amazon wish list. That sounds a bit much, maybe.
Maybe a little. But think about it. His whole thing was about the hidden parts of us, right? The urges, the conflict. We don't even realize we have.
Sure.
So if you look at it that way, maybe our shopping habits aren't quite so random after all, are they?
I see what you mean. It starts to look less like just buying stuff and more like a pattern.
Exactly. Freud was all about how our early life, our unconscious stuff keeps influencing us as adults.
Yeah.
And when you see people shopping repetitively, the ups and downs, the feelings tied to getting things, it kind of echoes the patterns Freud saw elsewhere in life. It's useful to think about what we buy, not just as products, but as, well, maybe reflections of our inner world.
Okay, this void idea, that feeling something's missing, and maybe this next purchase will fill it. Does that connect with Freud's ideas?
It does, yeah. In a way, Freud talked about the lost object.
Lost object.
Yeah. It's about those really important connections we make super early on. And the feeling of incompleteness or loss that can stick with us after separations. Even just, growing up and becoming our own person. This lost object isn't usually something specific we remember wanting. It's more like a deep down feeling of wanting that original wholeness, a total satisfaction back.
Okay.
And so as adults, we might unconsciously keep searching for that feeling. And in our world, with all the stuff around us, material things can become really powerful symbols in that search.
So that little buzz when the delivery van pulls up, that quick hit, that could be like a substitute for something much deeper we can't even name.
You got it. The waiting, the opening the box, that brief moment you own it, it can feel symbolically like getting something you really, really needed deep down, something that temporarily quiets that ache.
But it is temporary.
Always.
Yeah.
Because the thing itself is just a symbol, right? It can't actually fill that unconscious void. So the satisfaction fades and the urge, well, it comes back.
You also said our purchases can be projections. That sounds interesting. Like what? Projecting my hopes onto a new handbag.
That's actually a great way to put it. Think about someone buying, say, a really expensive watch.
Okay.
Sure, it tells time. But underneath, maybe unconsciously, it might stand for success, power, being seen a certain way, the kind of person they want to be.
Right.
So the desire isn't just for the watch itself. It's about projecting that inner wish for status, maybe, or respect onto the object, hoping that getting the watch somehow means getting those feelings too.
Wow. It's like we're trying to buy confidence or buy happiness, hoping the object will magically give us what we actually need to find inside ourselves.
Exactly that. And this links right into defense mechanisms. The ways Freud said our minds protect us from anxiety or stuff we don't want to face.
Okay.
A few of those can definitely show up in why and how we shop.
Give me an example. How does a Freudian defense mechanism play out when I'm scrolling through deals online?
Okay, take this placement. Let's say someone's feeling really, frustrated or ignored at work.
Yeah.
Facing that head on might feel too hard, too risky. So instead, they might unconsciously shift all that negative feeling onto something else entirely. Something easier to manage, like suddenly having this intense urge to buy a bunch of small, cheap things online. The little thrill of buying distracts them. Right? It redirects that emotion they haven't dealt with. Shopping becomes the substitute action.
So instead of that awkward chat with the boss. They just fill up the virtual cart. It definitely gives a quicker feeling of control, doesn't it?
Instant gratification, yeah, but superficial. Then there's sublimation. That's channeling impulses that aren't maybe socially okay into things that are acceptable.
How does that work with shopping?
Well, maybe there's an underlying urge to just acquire,
Yeah.
to feel powerful through owning things. That urge can be sublimated into the whole process of researching, comparing, choosing, dying. It feels productive, controlled.
Right.
It's a socially approved way to act on certain desires without anyone raising an eyebrow.
Huh. That is interesting. Spending hours reading reviews, comparing features. It can feel weirdly empowering, like you're making smart choices. Okay, but what about social media? We can't talk about modern shopping without talking about Instagram, TikTok, that endless feed of perfect lives and perfect stuff.
Oh, social media is like pouring gasoline on the fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a huge catalyst for all those underlying insecurities and desires we already have.
How so?
Well, you're constantly seeing these idealized versions of life, right? People showing off amazing vacations, perfect homes, the latest gadgets. It just sets up this constant comparison.
Yeah, definitely
Sure.
feel that sometimes.
And it can easily make you feel inadequate, like your life isn't good enough. So when you see influencers with their new stuff, looking happy, unconsciously, you might feel this pressure to copy them, to buy the same things, to somehow close that gap between their online image and your reality.
It's like trying to buy your way into that shiny online version of yourself, you see.
You could call it a kind of mirroring, yeah. Trying to become that online persona through what you buy.
And the algorithms, they just learn what triggers that feeling in you and feed you more of it. It's a loop.
A perfect loop.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating, kind of unsettlingly so, is the guilt factor. You know, that pang after you buy something impulsively.
Oh yeah, buyer's remorse.
From a Freudian angle, that guilt might not just be about the money. It could be tied into deeper unconscious conflicts, maybe a feeling deep down that you don't really deserve that little bit of pleasure the purchase gave you.
Wow, okay.
And that underlying guilt, it creates more unease, which you might then try to soothe by.
We're shopping.
Exactly. It can become this weird cycle where the guilt actually pushes you back to the behavior that caused it.
That's pretty unsettling. You also mentioned shopping as a performance of identity. What did you mean by that?
Well, in our culture, what we own says a lot about us.
Yeah.
Or at least what we want it to say. Our clothes, our car, our phone, how we decorate.
Yeah, they're like signals.
They absolutely are signals about our taste, our status, maybe our values. So shopping becomes how we curate that public identity. We build it piece by piece through our purchases.
Right.
But because that identity is tied to external things, things that go out of style or get replaced, it can lead to this constant feeling of needing the next thing to keep that image up. It fuels dissatisfaction.
It's like building your sense of self out of Lego bricks that keep getting discontinued. You're always scrambling for the new set. So what happens when this goes beyond just buying too much sometimes, when it becomes like a real shopping addiction?
Freud's take on addictive behaviors often link them back to underlying psychological pain, things rooted maybe in childhood, unmet emotional needs, unresolved stuff.
Okay.
So shopping addiction, from that perspective, it looks like a compulsive, repetitive, almost ritualistic behavior. You're chasing that temporary high, that gratification from buying over and over.
To escape something else.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
To self-soothe, to numb out, to escape deeper emotional pain, even just for a moment. The cycle itself, the wanting, the buying, the brief relief becomes the point, more than the actual stuff you're buying.
So that relentless loop. Want something, buy it, feel good for 5 minutes, then feel empty again. Start wanting something else that could be echoing something unresolved from way back.
It's definitely a possibility. Freud called it the repetition compulsion. This unconscious drive to repeat past experiences or situations, especially difficult ones, almost like trying to get them right this time, even if it just leads to more pain.
Wow.
The shopping ritual can offer a temporary feeling of control, a structure, when underneath there's maybe a lot of vulnerability or chaos.
This is making me think about that feeling. You know, even when you get something you really, really wanted, how quickly the shine wears off. It always feels like the real satisfaction is just around the corner with the next thing. Is it possible, this is a weird thought, but are we maybe unconsciously keeping that feeling of lack going? Like we need the search?
That is a very deep and I think very relevant question.
Right.
Psychoanalytically speaking, yeah, that's entirely plausible.
Really?
Think about it. The act of searching, the looking forward to the next thing. It can be a way to avoid facing bigger, scarier questions about ourselves, about life, existential stuff. If there's always a void to fill with the next purchase, you always have an external goal, right? Something concrete to focus on in the material world.
Yeah.
And that focus can be a very effective distraction from inner discomfort, the endless searching, the consuming. It becomes its own defense.
Wow, it's kind of disturbing to think we might be like clinging to that emptiness without realizing it. You mentioned narcissism earlier too. How does that fit into shopping?
Well, in psychoanalysis, narcissism isn't just about being vain. It's about how we invest our mental energy in ourselves and our ego.
Okay.
Shopping can become a way to build up what you might call an ego fortress. You're reinforcing a sense of self-importance or maybe an idealized image of yourself to defend against feeling inadequate, vulnerable.
So each purchase is like another brick in the wall.
Especially if it's something that signals status or fits into that perfect image you want to project. It can be an unconscious attempt to shore up that fortress, to keep those not good enough feelings at bay.
So all those carefully curated Instagram feeds showing off the latest haul, it might actually be about building the shield, protecting a fragile self underneath.
That's a very insightful way to see it, yes. That constant need for validation through what you own, performing the successful, desirable life online, it can definitely be seen as part of that narcissistic dynamic, managing vulnerability by projecting this idealized self through consumption.
Okay, wow. This has been definitely thought-provoking, maybe a little uncomfortable actually, digging into the why behind all the clicking and buying.
It can be, yeah.
So just to quickly recap some of these Freudian ideas we've touched on as they relate to, hitting buy now.
Sure. We talked about shopping as maybe an unconscious try at filling that deep void, linked perhaps to early life, that lost object idea.
Right. And purchases as projections, buying the feeling or status we want.
And defense mechanisms like displacement shopping instead of facing anxiety or sublimation, channeling urges into consumer behavior.
And how social media just pours fuel on the fire, amplifying insecurities, making us chase an online image through buying.
Yeah, and even the guilt potentially looping us back into the cycle.
Plus, shopping is performing an identity that's never quite satisfying because it's based on external things.
Exactly. And then addiction as a deeper ritual, maybe linked to past pain, repetition compulsion.
And that really unsettling idea that maybe we keep the void going unconsciously to avoid looking deeper.
And finally, the narcissistic bit, building that ego fortress with purchases to fend off inadequacy.
Right. That covers a lot. It definitely makes you look at that overflowing closet or the endless online wish list a bit differently.
It does.
So for you listening, maybe just pause for a second and think about your own relationship with shopping. When you click add to cart, what are you really looking for? What version of you are you hoping that purchase will help create? And maybe what might happen if you just stopped looking outside yourself for that fulfillment, even for a short while.
Which leads to maybe the most provocative thought.
Yeah.
Perhaps the real work isn't about finding the perfect thing to buy, but about being willing to actually face the absence itself, the feeling behind the desire. Maybe the real discovery isn't in what we get, but in understanding why we feel the need to search so frantically in the first place.
Definitely something to think about until our next deep dive.